Most people live inside an illusion. They mistake the mask for the self, the comfort of ignorance for peace. But truth demands more from you. It demands courage, solitude, and awareness. You spend much of your life performing. You adapt to the expectations of others, shaping yourself to be accepted, respected, or loved. Over time, that performance hardens into a mask. You begin to believe the version of yourself that you show to the world. The smile that hides exhaustion, the confidence that covers doubt, the politeness that buries truth. This mask protects you, but it also limits you. It keeps you safe, yet disconnected from what is real within you. Every time you suppress what you feel to appear composed, every time you silence your truth to avoid rejection, you strengthen the illusion. The more you live through this mask, the more distant you become from your authentic self. The real you is not the image you defend. It is not what others see or say about you. It is the silent awareness beneath all appearances. To discover it, you must have the courage to stop pretending. You must face the emptiness that appears when the mask falls away. At first, that emptiness feels frightening, but it is only the space where your true self begins to breathe. Do not confuse adaptation with authenticity. Adaptation helps you survive, but authenticity helps you live. To exit the illusion, stop performing and start witnessing. Let your actions rise from truth, not from approval. When you live without a mask, your presence becomes real, your words carry weight, and your life regains meaning. You spend your life trying to appear good, kind, and controlled. You build an image that the world approves of, and you cling to it. But beneath that surface lies another side, the shadow. It holds everything you deny, fear, or reject in yourself. Your anger, jealousy, shame, and impulses that do not fit your ideal image. You push them away, believing that if you hide them long enough, they will disappear. They do not. They grow stronger in the dark. The shadow influences your choices when you are unaware of it. It appears in sudden reactions, in your judgments of others, in the emotions you cannot explain. When you hate a quality in someone else, it often mirrors something you have not accepted in yourself. The parts you deny do not vanish. They seek expression through conflict, projection, or self-sabotage. To face the shadow is to look honestly at your own darkness. It is to admit that you are not only light. Every person carries both. The goal is not to destroy the shadow but to integrate it. Integration begins when you stop pretending to be perfect and allow yourself to be human. When you accept your capacity for anger, you gain control over it. When you face your envy, you uncover your unfulfilled desire. When you confront your fear, you transform it into strength. The shadow is not your enemy. It is a source of energy and truth. Every suppressed quality hides potential waiting to be reclaimed. The more you deny your shadow, the more it controls you. The more you bring it into awareness, the more power you have over your life. To exit the illusion, you must walk into the darkness within you and see that it belongs to you. Only then can you live as a whole person, not a divided one. You try to control your life because you fear uncertainty. You plan every step, measure every risk, and chase stability as if it could protect you from pain. But control is a fragile illusion. The world does not bend to your will. People change, circumstances shift, and life unfolds in ways you cannot predict. The more you cling to control, the more you suffer when reality refuses to obey. This need for control often hides deeper fear. The fear of chaos, loss, or failure. You try to shape everything around you to avoid feeling powerless. But power does not come from control, it comes from acceptance. When you resist what is, you exhaust your mind and weaken your spirit. When you allow life to move as it must, you begin to flow with it, not against it. You are not here to master every outcome. You are here to learn from experience, to grow through what happens. Control creates tension, but trust creates freedom. Trust does not mean blindness. It means the courage to face change without resistance. It means you stop fighting the current and start understanding its direction. When you release control, you stop reacting from fear. You start responding from awareness. You listen more, force less, and recognize that not everything must go your way to serve your growth. Life has its rhythm, and it teaches through both order and disruption. The ego believes it must hold everything together, but your deeper self knows that letting go reveals strength, not weakness. When you no longer seek to control every detail, you find peace. You act with clarity instead of anxiety. You accept the unknown as part of your path. This is how you exit the illusion of control and discover real power within yourself. You settle into comfort because it feels safe. You repeat the same routines. You choose ease over effort. Over time, those choices narrow your life. They keep you small. Comfort hides stagnation. It dulls your curiosity. It makes risk feel unnecessary. You stop learning new skills. You stop testing your limits. Your goals slow and then stall. Recognize the cost. List one habit that wastes your time. Note one relationship that dulls you. Write one goal you have avoided because it feels hard. Name each item plainly. That creates clarity. Create friction for comfort. Change one small routine. Take a different route to work. Learn one new skill for 20 minutes a day. Set a 30-day challenge. Track it. Small acts of discomfort build momentum. Plan deliberate discomfort. Schedule a weekly task that scares you a little. Make a public commitment to someone you trust. Use accountability to push through resistance. Remove easy escapes from your environment. Measure progress with simple metrics. Count the days you keep the habit. Record what you learned each week. Review every 2 weeks. Adjust the plan. Repeat what works. Treat discomfort as data, not punishment. Ask what it teaches you. Use the insight to choose your next step. Growth happens where comfort ends. You cannot grow and stay comfortable. You must trade ease for clarity. Choose the trade. Exit the trap and move toward what matters. You wake to a new clarity. You stop confusing thoughts with truth. You notice when you react and when you choose. Your inner voice grows quieter, and your attention grows sharper. Awakening begins with honest seeing. You name your fear. You name your desire. You sit with both without judging them. That simple act weakens their control over you. You learn to pause before you speak. You breathe before you act. Those small pauses create space for deliberate choice. Over time, choice becomes habit. You accept that growth is uneven. Some days you stumble, other days you move with ease. Keep a steady practice. Return to awareness when you stray. You bring attention to daily acts. You eat with presence. You work with presence. You rest with presence. Presence transforms routine into training. You seek solitude on purpose. In quiet, you hear what noise hides. You read less to escape and more to understand. You write to sort out what you think. You seek honest mirrors. You invite feedback. You test assumptions against reality. You change what fails the test. You integrate what you learn. You take responsibility for your shadow. You temper your strengths with humility. You allow your limits to teach you. You do not seek perfection. You seek truth. Truth asks for courage and steady practice. Keep walking toward it. The ego fears change because change threatens its control. It builds its identity from stories, titles, and opinions. It says, "This is who I am," and fights anything that challenges that belief. The ego wants certainty. It wants to be right. It wants to be important. When life disrupts that image, the ego resists through anger, denial, or pride. You feel this resistance when you defend yourself instead of listening, when you justify instead of reflecting, when you choose comfort over truth. The ego hides behind logic, but its real motive is protection. It fears losing its position as the center of your world. The moment you try to awaken, the ego interferes. It distracts you with old habits. It reminds you of past success. It whispers that you do not need to change. It creates endless thoughts to keep you from silence because silence exposes its illusion. In stillness, you see that the ego is not you. It is a pattern of thought pretending to be you. You do not destroy the ego by force. You observe it. You watch how it reacts, how it craves approval, how it fears failure. Each time you notice it, its grip weakens. Awareness dissolves identification. You begin to act from presence, not from insecurity. The ego is loud, but awareness is steady. When you shift attention to awareness, the noise of the ego fades. You no longer need to prove, defend, or compete. You become open to learning and correction. Real freedom begins when you stop obeying the ego's fear. You let go of the need to win every argument or control every situation. You face truth even when it hurts. You accept that being wrong does not make you less. You trade image for authenticity. The ego resists, but it cannot survive full awareness. Each moment of honest observation weakens its power. As illusion falls, clarity grows. What remains is not the false that fights life, but the silent self that lives it fully. Every relationship you have reflects something about you. Each person you attract, love, or resist reveals a part of your inner world. You do not meet others by accident. You meet them to see yourself more clearly. When you admire someone, you recognize qualities that already live within you but remain unexpressed. Their strength, creativity, or calmness mirrors your own potential. When you feel envy, it points to what you secretly desire to become. When you feel irritation or judgment, it shows you the traits you have not yet accepted in yourself. Conflict often exposes the truth you avoid. The person who frustrates you the most usually mirrors a wound you have not healed. Maybe their criticism reminds you of your own self-doubt. Maybe their distance echoes an old rejection you still carry. If you pause before reacting, you can see what life is showing you through them. This awareness turns relationships into teachers. You stop blaming others for your emotions. You start asking, what does this reaction reveal about me? That question transforms pain into understanding. Every misunderstanding becomes a mirror of your expectations, fears, or needs. When you stop projecting, relationships grow deeper. You see people as they are, not as extensions of your own story. You listen without defense. You speak with clarity, not manipulation. You stop seeking validation because you learn to give it to yourself. Healthy relationships form when two people take responsibility for their reflections. They no longer try to fix each other. They grow together through honesty and self-awareness. Your outer world always mirrors your inner state. If you want peace in relationships, begin by creating peace within. If you want truth, live truthfully. The people in your life will shift to match the level of consciousness you hold. Relationships are mirrors, not distractions. Look closely, and you will see that every connection is guiding you back to yourself. You choose solitude to hear yourself. You step away from noise and demand. In quiet, your true thoughts surface. Solitude strips away social masks. It reveals what you avoid in company. Schedule regular time alone. Start with 15 minutes a day. Sit without phone or distraction. Notice your breath. Notice the thoughts that repeat. Use solitude to inventory your life. Ask what drains you. Ask what fuels you. Record what you feel without explanation. Name the fears that appear. Learn to sit with discomfort. Do not fix every feeling. Let questions remain open. That practice builds tolerance for change. Use solitude to practice honest reflection. Review one interaction from the day. Ask what you projected. Ask what you defended. Make a small course correction. Do creative work in solitude. Write by hand for 10 minutes. Walk without a plan. Let your attention shift inward. Small acts produce insight. Do not confuse solitude with isolation. Return to others with new clarity. Speak less, listen more. Bring what you learned into your relationships. Solitude trains presence. It strengthens your capacity to act from choice rather than habit. It reveals the illusions you carry. Answer its call and you will know yourself more fully. The false self lives through attachment. It depends on titles, roles, and approval to exist. It says, I am my success, my image, my reputation. It builds a fragile identity from what can be lost. When life removes those supports, the false self collapses. That collapse feels like death because the ego cannot imagine being without definition. This death begins quietly. You start to feel empty doing what once felt meaningful. You sense that your achievements no longer satisfy you. The identity you built begins to crack. Fear rises. You try to hold on, but nothing fits the way it once did. This is the moment when real transformation begins. To face this inner death, you must stop running from loss. You must allow what no longer serves you to fall away. Friendships fade, ambitions shift, beliefs dissolve. Each loss clears space for something truer to emerge. The mind resists because it equates change with failure, but what dies is only illusion. The essence beneath remains untouched. This process cannot be rushed. It unfolds through humility. Sit in the emptiness without trying to fill it. Observe the parts of you that beg for distraction. Watch them fade. What remains is silence, awareness, and truth. You begin to see that you are not your roles, not your fears, not even your thoughts. You are the awareness that witnesses them. The death of the false self frees your energy. You no longer waste it maintaining appearances. You no longer seek constant validation. You act from inner necessity, not outer demand. You find strength in simplicity. You start living in alignment with your values, not with expectation. This death is not an end, it is a rebirth. It clears the path for the real self to live. When illusion dies, authenticity rises. When ego dissolves, peace begins. You do not become someone new. You return to what you have always been, untouched by the masks of identity. Integration is the work of joining what you split. You stop living in parts. You bring thought, feeling, body, and spirit into one movement. You do not chase perfection. You practice honesty. Begin with small acts. Spend 10 minutes a day in quiet reflection. Write one sentence about what you felt today and why. Track one repeated reaction. Name it. That naming opens the path. Face what you cast out. Choose one behavior you condemn in others. Ask how it shows up in you. Own one example this week. Saying it out loud dissolves projection. You gain control over the energy that once governed you. Balance your strengths with your wounds. Use what you do well to heal what you avoid. If you are decisive, learn to listen. If you comfort, learn to set limits. Practice both skills until they feel natural. Use rituals to steady the process. Create a short evening check-in. Breathe for 2 minutes before action. Pause before you respond. Rituals convert intention into habit. Seek honest mirrors. Ask one trusted person for feedback each month. Receive the feedback without defense. Test it. Adjust what does not serve you. Feedback accelerates integration. Work with solitude and presence. Meet yourself without stories. Notice body signals, not only thoughts. Move your body daily. Let physical practice carry psychological change. Practice rejoining opposites. When you feel shame, name the pride that hides it. When you feel anger, find the soft need beneath. Bring both sides into view. Integration asks you to hold both, without collapse. Keep small metrics. Count days you journal. Mark moments you paused before reacting. Review progress every 2 weeks. Use data to stay honest. Allow slow failure. You will revert. Notice it without shame. Return to practice. Integration deepens through repetition, not rush. Live from responsibility. Choose actions that reflect your inner unity. Do less that fragments you. Say no to what pulls you apart. Trust the process. Integration is not escape. It is the deliberate art of bringing your parts into one life. You become whole by doing the work, day by day. The path of truth is not easy, but once you see through the illusion, you cannot return. The light within you demands expression. Walk toward it, even if it burns away everything false.